Hello, I'd like to talk to you today about trauma. I think you know who I am. I'm Dr. Margaret. Um, we have lots of things going on in this world. It's so different from when I was born. Mind you, when I was born, 1942, the world was in war. But at least we didn't have all the pressures of the things that we have today, such as terrorism. What we had was know your enemy, deal with it, carry on with your life and do the best that you can. But today, we actually find ourselves worrying about every kind of thing that could possibly happen to us. Are you a world worrier? Do you worry if the world is going to slip out of its orbit and that we'll all be killed tomorrow by some giant earthquake or meteorite that's going to knock us out of the heavens? Do you worry about your family? Do you think about all the bad things that could happen to them and all the things that you think could go wrong? And do you think about things like um, having a car accident or having surgery and not coming out of it when you know that you will because it's only a simple thing, but somehow to you it's awful, you know? Well, we could go on. We could go on with lots of things that you could mentally think about. And do you know what? When you're thinking that way, you're traumatizing yourself. I'm going to talk about a little example I had years ago. I wondered where my husband was, and I worried about him all the time. And every imaginable scenario I thought of, he's out saving someone with a truck, and he could have been run over by a car and hit while he was under the truck, or, it just went on and on. And all the while I found out he was having a drink in the pub on the way home. So who was traumatized? Not him for sure. I was, okay? The bottom line is our imagination, our illusions, our fantasies, our fears, they run away with us. We find ourselves telling ourselves we justify the reasons why we think the way we think. And of course, when the real scenario happens, when we really do get some incident that is traumatizing, we deal with it very well. We suddenly find our brain kicks into an alpha state, and from there, a knowing sense of who we are and what we can do. We've seen stories about women who rushed to cars and found this super strength and opened the doors and saved everyone. Yes, we all have insight, inspiration, instinct to deal with any given situation, no matter what it is, at a given moment when it's needed. So, why am I talking about trauma? Well, the bottom line is that if you are hurt in some way, yes, you may be in a physical consciousness of I'm hurt and it hurts like a lot. And you may also be screaming or unconscious. You don't know what you're going to be like. But ultimately, you'll go through it. And then you'll recover. Well, of course, once you're in recovery, your body starts to kick in to heal. What about your brain? Is your brain going over and over all the different things you could have, might have, or ought to have done to avoid this given situation? If you'd have waited 5 minutes earlier or later, would it have made a difference? Would you have saved yourself from going through some accident? Well, the truth is that we do everything spontaneously in some way, in the right timekeeping mode, as it were, for us to go through some kind of situation so that we can say to ourselves afterwards, wow, I survived it. And what did I learn as a result of going through that trauma? I've had so many traumas in my life, I've got to admit it, from things like birthing babies in anxiety situations because of the unexpected deliveries. I've had car accidents, and I've had marriage problems, and I've had operations, and it goes on and on. And every time that I've gone through something, I've always found myself saying to myself afterwards, well, you got yourself through that one. And then a little later, what did I discover about myself that I didn't know before? And then when I start working on that kind of consciousness, I start to notice that my body quivers, it moves energy relative to the way I'm thinking. It's called ideomotor response. That means your brain sends energy down your nervous system to every little muscle in your body, and that causes you to twitch, breathe, and exhale. Breathe in and out, let stress and tension go, release the trauma, and allow yourself to come to a balanced consciousness that whatever happened is okay. Let's take another example. Let's say you're a listener and you've been diagnosed with cancer. Well, the first idea is, oh God, it's a death sentence. But it's not today, is it? Because now we know that if we do things in a certain way and get into the idea of eating healthily and working with alternative medicines as well as with surgeons and whatever we need, we can recover. And once we've gone through that, we start to say, okay, so I'm a survivor. Now, I'd like to take the word survivor a little bit further. Take it into imagination again. You're on a raft in the ocean, in the middle of nowhere, with no sign of help whatsoever. What would you be doing? Would you be sitting there saying, oh, it's the end of the world, I'm going to die now? Or would you be saying, God, help me find the strength to believe in myself, to survive, to go on in this world, to do something worthwhile, something that has meaning? Well, a lot of people do that, They may be quietly doing it. They may not be famous or, bragging about their recovery, but in some way, they're helping other people to help themselves. And of course, you know what eventually happens. We have the 100th monkey. And when we have more and more people beginning to realize that we don't have to worry about everything, that we don't have to carry the memory of trauma, that we can release the fear, the pain, the anger and the guilt that we went through, and that we can embrace love, honor, respect, and trust for ourselves. You see, when you really love yourself, when you've been through lots of traumas, you get to a point where you start to say, okay, I'm getting used to this, and now that I'm getting used to it, there's some clues here. My spirit is speaking to me. It's starting to tell me intuitively, don't do that this time, be more aware next time. It's starting to say, hey, I've got something to share about that event. I've got something that could warn other people. Don't be like me, try something else. Or we could be saying, I want to encourage you to believe in the power of yourself, the power of manifestation, to get whatever you need at any time. I have in my website, Sumari's Education Center, I have a meditation there for you to download. It's for you to focus on manifesting your dreams. It's on sumaricenter.com. So you might like to go there. Now, if you're carrying trauma from the past and you just can't let it go, you can't forgive, you can't forget, it's there like stuck here, right here in the center of your forehead, then you need to be helped a little. I've created a healing meditation that many hundreds of thousands of people are downloading, they tell me. You can go there to www.drmargaretrvc.com. And you can download my free healing meditation that will help you to recover by releasing the trauma. So let me talk a little bit about trauma. What happens when you're going through it all? Your brain is recording every little feeling, every little thought, every sensation of touch, every feeling of pain, every part of you that's afraid, those parts of you that's even angry because you're saying, I should have checked. Or maybe some guilt because you realize you were in a place you shouldn't have been at the wrong time doing the wrong thing. Whatever it is, your brain remembers it all. And your brain has stored it in every cell in your body. So if you find that you are many years after a trauma and you're still suffering with pain, anxiety, worry, fear, or guilt, then downloading my free healing meditation is a must, because with one lesson you'll notice that all of that memory will be cleared away. No, you won't forget, but you'll think about it differently. You'll say, as a result of it, hey, I'm awakening to what I've learned. So once again, here's a website, www.drmargaretrvc.com. All I ask is you put your email in, and that's to protect me because I don't want any spam. So I want to say to you now, let go of trauma, let go of fear and anxiety, let go of pain, let go of worry. Live in the now. Today is today. Every minute counts. Enjoy it. You don't know what tomorrow brings. But try and be positive. Tomorrow could be another super duper day. So on that note, I'll say thank you for listening to me. And I hope once again you'll enjoy many of my other videos that are now available for you. And maybe you'll subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Thank you for listening to me. Bye.